own goal for some of these goalies. Give me both teams to score in the first period. That's coming in at plus 185 compared to the over 1.5 that is at minus 120. Okay, you guys ready? Let's make some freaking money. It's time for Puck It with Jo.
Happy Sunday, everyone. Jo here at SportsGrid. It's time for Puck It with Jo. I hope you're joining us over on SportsGrid TV on X, and I want to welcome everyone joining us everywhere that you can tune in. We've got 4 games on deck today and lots of opportunities to make some freaking money. Now, a couple of these teams are on back-to-backs and interesting situations when you put them in that position. Just to go over what we saw last night, that early game, we did see the Boston Bruins end up getting the win in OT, low-scoring game, so we were able to cash the under between the Kings and the Bruins as the Bruins won that 2-1. The Buffalo Sabres pulled off that upset win with the Florida Panthers. In that look ahead, they will face the Boston Bruins in Boston tomorrow. So the Sabres able to win 5-2. The Maple Leafs beat the Penguins 4-2. The Montreal Canadiens able to beat the Ottawa Senators. I'm so glad we didn't fall for the Ottawa Senators with all of that juice that we had to lay. The Montreal Canadiens plus 1.5. We were getting value. They won that 4-1. Cole Caulfield, again, really impressing. The Predators were shut out via the Red Wings. The Red Wings winning at home 3-0. The Utah Hockey Club impressing, getting the win in overtime over the New York Rangers 6-5. The Devils beating the Capitals 5-3. And then a couple others. We have the Stars beat the Islanders. The Stars winning that one 3-0. The Kraken beating the Wild in a shootout in overtime 5-4. The Columbus Blue Jackets pulling off the upset, winning in Colorado 6-4. And if you watch that, Nathan McKinnon had a freak out there on the ice, got a 10-minute misconduct. We saw the Flyers fall to the Calgary Flames. Now, Wolfie wasn't able to get that shutout, but he looked so impressive last night for the Calgary Flames. So 6-3 win for the Calgary Flames. And Edmonton fell flat on their faces. Again, the Chicago Blackhawks coming out nice and strong, beating Edmonton again in their home building 5-2. And the Anaheim Ducks getting their opening season game. It wasn't at home, it was on the road over the Sharks 2-0. But let's jump into today's actions. Yeah, the Islanders did look weak out there on the ice yesterday. We had some controversial calls like Rempe for the Rangers, his goal being taken away. There was some different things happening out there on the ice tonight. We can't complain, though. We made some money, and today is another opportunity to make some money today. Now, make sure you join me over on the grid. I will be alive all afternoon with Scott Wetzel and Adam Kaufman, and if you're looking for my football bets, head on over to the SportsGrid app. But let's talk some hockey, you guys. The Minnesota Wild will be taking on the Winnipeg Jets. This is the first game here. And I'm just going to pull up all odds. All odds for the show are on FanDuel. So minus 164 here for the Winnipeg Jets, plus 136 for the Minnesota Wild. This total is sitting at 5.5, minus 122 to the over 5.5. Looking at this matchup, I was just checking Gustafsson and now expected here for the Minnesota Wild. Wallstedt was listed earlier. Now he's considered the future of this team in net, but I do think we'll see Gustafsson instead. So that does change things a little bit here. Connor Hellebuck has been great on his first couple of starts out for Winnipeg, and he's just been stopping, it seems like, everything going at him. He's got a .982 save percentage. So when we look at these teams and what they're coming in off of, the Minnesota Wild are off that shootout loss last night to the Kraken. So they're on their second night of the back-to-back. Well, the Winnipeg Jets have had that rest. They played the Sharks on Friday. They have the Pittsburgh Penguins on deck, I believe. Yeah, I believe they have them on deck on Monday. No, I don't think so. I don't think this second night back-to-back. I'll have to check that for you. The Sharks, actually, that's what it is. They're off the win versus the Blackhawks. That's what it was. 2-1 win. They were off versus the Blackhawks. I'm just getting things confused in my head. They have the Sharks not till Friday. So really easy schedule here for this team where the Minnesota Wild is on that back-to-back. The Winnipeg Jets know they're at home in this one. They've had that day's rest, and then they don't have to play till next Friday when they face the Sharks and then the Penguins on the Sunday. So I do think that rest advantage and plus Connor Hellebuyck in goal tonight is huge here for the Winnipeg Jets. I don't only think they can win, I think they can win this and cover the puck line. This is a 60-minute bet as well. You're getting value the Jets in 60 minutes at minus 105. I'm expecting them to win, and I'm expecting them to cover that puck line. Laying the 1.5 on the puck line, current odds on FanDuel is plus 155. Gives you so much value on them. Now, I do think Kyle Connor will be able to find the back of the net again. You know, he's my go-to here for the Winnipeg Jets. He's coming in at plus 130. Mark Scheifele, though, if you want to look at him, he's already scored 3 goals and 1 assist, and Appleton 1 goal and 3 assists. I do think all of them get on the point board today, and that's where I would be looking. Now, when we look at the Minnesota Wild, on that back-to-back, what we saw out of them last season, they went 6-6-3 on that second night of a back-to-back, and we saw high trends to that over with them allowing those goals to come in. So they went 9-5-1 to the over at last season. If you just want to look at the Winnipeg Jets team total, because I do have faith in them scoring in this one, Grubauer or Wallstedt out there, their team total 3.5. Over the 3.5 is plus money at plus 118. So that is where I would go. Caps money line got you money, but the under 1.5 in the first period. I like where you went there, Larry. Good morning. Thank you so much for being here. Happy Canadian Thanksgiving to everyone out there as well. And yeah, that Blackhawks win was absolutely fantastic. Just golden last night. We'll put the Oilers in a terrible mood, though, and they're playing today. We'll talk about that in just a minute. The next game up, the Seattle Kraken taking on the Dallas Stars. Now, both of these teams on a back-to-back. The Seattle Kraken roll into Dallas at plus 142. Underdogs minus 172 here for the Dallas Stars. And we have a total of 5.5. Now, that 5.5 is juiced to the over at minus 124. Philip Grubauer expected here for the Seattle Kraken and Casey DeSmith for the Dallas Stars. When we look at this Dallas team, they were able to beat the Islanders last night 3-0. And when we look at Seattle, they came off an overtime game, shootout game last night versus the Wild, where they were able to get the win. So 5-4 win there for the Seattle Kraken. They have the Panthers on deck on Tuesday, so no game tomorrow. And we see the Dallas Stars home on Tuesday versus the San Jose Sharks. Jacksonville just put some points on the board. If anyone's paying attention to this football game over in London, just to let you know on that. But yeah, the Dallas Stars have been strong so far. I expect them to tighten up their defense here at home. I'm looking at a Kraken team. They scored some goals on the season, but notoriously, this is a team that starts off slower in these games. I'm going to look at just the first period, you guys, with both of these teams on a back-to-back. I expect that first period to be more defensive. I'm going to take the first period under 1.5. Under 1.5 goals coming in at minus 108 currently on FanDuel. I do think Dallas has the upper hand in this game on the back-to-back just because they're at home, but minus 172 on the money line, I can't get behind, and I do think it is a one-goal game. If you want to look at the regulation, I'm still kind of worried about that because I think it's a coin flip that could go into OT. So the only thing I'm going to bet in this one is that first period under 1.5 goals. Now, we got to talk about my Calgary Flames take on the Edmonton Oilers. Calgary coming off an impressive emotional win over the Philadelphia Flyers, getting a 6-3 win. I joked earlier this morning, you look at Grubauer here, 2 goals last night and 2 assists. He now has, 5 points on the season. He's got more goals than the whole Edmonton Oilers team combined, but this Edmonton Oilers team is going to be not impressed. They lost again to the Chicago Blackhawks. We know the Winnipeg Jets absolutely schooled them in that opening game, losing last night 5-2, scoreless in the first to the Jets 6-0. They've only scored 2 goals. Huberdeau has 3. So it's a win for Calgary Flame fans right now. But now, Calgary traveling up to Edmonton. 3-hour drive, an hour flight. It's nice and quick for Calgary to go up to Edmonton. Dan Vladar expected in goal. Now, Dan Vladar in their first game versus Vancouver had his struggles. 4.87 goals against average. They never pulled him. They allowed him to stay in. And Calgary actually was able to come back and give him that support and get the win. But he did allow those goals to come in. Wolf was absolutely fire last night, you guys. Calgary Flame fans must feel fantastic about what we saw. He stopped 37 of 40 shots on his net by the Philadelphia Flyers, and he's definitely the future here for the Calgary Flames in goal. Dan Vladar, though, is a solid goaltender, and I do have faith in him to come out strong in this matchup. Stuart Skinner on the other side. Now, we know Stuart Skinner has started one game and was pulled in that. He allowed 5 goals on 13 shots on net last Wednesday versus the Winnipeg Jets. That's the Stuart Skinner we all know and love to bet against, right? I hate to do that against a person and a goaltender, but Skinner has made his money fading him in the past. Now, when you look at him versus the Calgary Flames, though, that is where it's hard to fade him. 2-1 versus the Flames with a 2.67 goals against average and a 904 save percentage in his 3 starts last season versus them. So he was able to come out strong. Edmonton also has dominated this matchup. It's our biggest rival for a reason, you guys. The Edmonton Oilers just roll over us. I'll never forget last year, right around this time, going to the Heritage Classic outdoors in Edmonton. It was painful as a Flames fan to see the Edmonton Oilers just schoolless and then have to sit in the cold. So looking at this matchup, I'm expecting those goals to come in. We have a total of 6.5. Calgary has proven this offense is hungry and eager. And while they've got some young talent on there and they're moving around some lines, I do think they'll be able to hit the back of Skinner's net. But I'm trusting in Edmonton to wake up offensively. This is a game where there's no way I want to take Edmonton. When we look at lines right now, Edmonton is minus 265 favorites, plus 215 for Calgary, total 6.5. Juice to that over at minus 122. When we look at the Calgary Flames, plus 1.5 on the puck lines, minus 114. Edmonton, minus 1.5. Minus 105. I do think there's an opportunity for Calgary to cover that puck line, but I'm worried about the empty netter, so I'm going to stay off. I don't want to take Edmonton on the puck line. I just don't think we're getting enough value betting on Edmonton in this game. Everyone's mindset is Edmonton can't lose their first 3 games. That's a dangerous mindset to be on because we absolutely know the people who took that into game 2 say Edmonton has to bounce back. Edmonton has to play strong. You have to look at their current form, and Edmonton looked ghastly again last night. I can't trust this team. I do think, though, offensively, we will see those goals come in. Dan Vladar, Stuart Skinner, give me the over 6.5. I do think we got a goal in the first 5 minutes. I'm always looking for that plus money. You guys know that. The goal in the first 5 minutes coming in at plus 154. High octane offenses on both sides. Both of these teams love to punch first. Out there, I don't see a cautious defensive start for either of these teams. Both will want to get up. This will be a physical game out there between these two as they battle it out in Edmonton. Now, both are on a back-to-back. We look here at Calgary on the back-to-back last season. It wasn't pretty. 1-5-1 in their 7 games on that back-to-back. Edmonton on the back-to-back, though, went 5-5. On 10 games with no rest. So it's a dangerous one, you guys. Best of luck if you're taking a side in this one. I'm taking the over. I love the first period goal in the first 5 minutes. The last game on deck, we have the Anaheim Ducks taking on the Las Vegas Golden Knights. Now the Anaheim Ducks on that second night of a back-to-back, they're coming in here at plus 255, able to get the win over the San Jose Sharks. We've got Vegas rested. They played on Friday. They're minus 280 here on the money line, and rightly so. The Vegas Golden Knights are looking fantastic, and even though they moved away some players, this team, Jack Eichel, is looking fantastic. We got Mark Stone lighting the lamp. I love what Vegas has brought to start the season. Now, minus 1.5 for the Vegas Golden Knights coming in at minus 110. We got a total of 6.5 in this one as well. Juice to that under at minus 128 because I do think they're worried to see if the Ducks will be able to score. Now, goaltending debut here for Samsonov. We would know he was with the Leafs last season. He's now with the Vegas Golden Knights. Samsonov had his struggles last season, but I do think the culture here of Vegas will bring out the best in him. Anyone who hasn't been to a Toronto game, anyone who hasn't met Toronto fans, know they're the harshest on their players. They are booing their players. They're not celebrating them or cheering them on when they make mistakes. It's hard to watch these Toronto fans. And sorry, Toronto fans, you absolutely do it. I do think the comments said about Samsonov really rattled him by his fans. And I can't remember which teammate it was talking about the the comments of the fans saying if Samsonov understood English better, he probably would check out of hockey. And we know he had to have a couple of checkouts last season for mental health reasons. And I do think Vegas is going to give him support. Vegas fans, get behind this goaltender. He has every ability to be that star power we know we've seen in some of these games. So get behind him, give him the support, win or lose. And I promise you, this is going to be what I think one of the goaltenders that will have that bounce back season that everyone's like, how did Toronto let him go? He's looking fantastic. So making his debut here, his career numbers versus the Anaheim Ducks, he's gone 2-0, stopping 59 of 62 shots on his goal. Now, James Reimer was one of those players that was moved around right before the season started here. So actually, not even before the season started, like before last Monday, he was signed with Buffalo. He had like a 1-year, $1 million contract. He was signed with them, went over to Prague with Buffalo, never played, and then came back. And then the Anaheim Ducks pulled him over to their team. So he's with Anaheim now. He'll be making his debut for this team as well. Now, the Ducks on that second night of a back-to-back does give me question on if we can back them, especially against Vegas. I think Vegas, you look at here in the first period, laying a half of a goal plus 106 in the first period. We know Vegas cashed some money in the first period last season. I also like the first period over 1.5 goals. I do think Vegas gets both of them. That's coming in at minus 140, so a little juicy. Jack Eichel, I'm going to take for the anytime goal at plus 105. Now, Frank Vecchangio of the Anaheim Ducks is who I would think, if they're going to score, will find the back of the net. He's coming in at plus 490. I'm not sure if I'm going to hit on it. He was, their bread and butter for scoring last season. I would love to see Samsonov get the shutout today, and I just want to have a look because the Vegas Golden Knights are going to give him support defensively as well. And we've got overtime. We've got a shutout. Will there be overtime comes in? Yeah, I'm not betting will there be overtime. I wanted the shutout. There's no props yet for the Vegas Golden Knights to get a shutout win here. Let me just check under goalies if it's listed there. I would look at Samsonov for over his total save shots on goal. That number coming in at 25.5. It's going to be really tight to that number because, like I said, Vegas will give him the support. But I do think he has one of those nights where he stands on his head for his new team. So give me the Vegas Golden Knights here, laying the 1.5. Full game, give me the Vegas Golden Knights laying the half a goal in the first period. And Vegas on the puck line in the first period. I think this is a great matchup for the Vegas Golden Knights today. But yeah, there's some lines that are way too juicy out there. If you guys can hit that like button, hit that retweet, subscribe button, I would so appreciate it. 4 games today only on the site. Looking ahead at what we're expecting tomorrow. Remember, you guys, every day, noon Eastern, I am live here on SportsGrid TV. Games kick off on Monday because it is Thanksgiving Monday at 1 o'clock Eastern here in Canada. So games kick off at 1. We have 6 games on Monday. So join me at noon. We'll go over all of these games, some really interesting matchups out there on the ice. We'll see what the Pittsburgh Penguins can do versus the Montreal Canadiens, and the Islanders will play their second game facing Colorado. Both of those teams yet to get a win on the season, so they'll be hungry. You guys, thanks for joining me. I appreciate each and every one of you. Hit that like, hit that retweet, and drop below what you're betting today out there on the ice. Remember, if you're looking for my hockey plays, you go over and check it out on the SportsGrid app, and make sure you download it. It has so much great value over there. Bye, you guys.
Hit some anytime goal.